Although my work performance has been praised, my boss decided I wasn't a good fit after I insulted the owner's disabled daughter. This happened on Friday, and I've been burying my sorrows all weekend, dreading the fact that I have to start looking for a new job. I'm typing it up here to try and organize my thoughts because right now it's all a mess. I had been with the company for 3 months and was still on the payroll when I was fired. I was given existing accounts to manage during orientation, which involved assisting customers and persuading them to spend more money on advertising. These accounts already had their ad campaigns completed, and if they wanted something new, the account was transferred to a senior account manager who would collaborate with our advertising guys to create something for the customer. Eventually, I hoped to have that job, but I had to pay me dues by demonstrating that I could keep up with current accounts and persuade them to spend more money. Initially, everything was going smoothly until last week, when we were set to have our quarterly retreat. Since we were the primary regional office in the area, all of the employees from the satellite locations came to our office for the retreat. The company's owner doesn't often visit our office. According to my coworkers, he has been in charge of setting up a new satellite office for the past year. I was there for the retreat with his disabled daughter, Amy. I won't claim to be an expert on Amy's disability, but it seemed like she had childlike mannerisms, struggled with self-expression, and had some motor skills issues. For privacy reasons, one of my coworkers told me that Amy works at one of the satellite offices, so I probably wouldn't have much interaction with her, but I should still be nice. I'm nice to everyone regardless. Amy was in front of me getting her coffee when I went to refill it. I noticed that she was having trouble adding condiments and closing the lid, so I asked if she needed any help. She thanked me, said she did, and let me finish making it. As I was doing it, she said she didn't like coffee, but her dad made her drink it because she had to. I smiled, said that was definitely important, and gave her the coffee. The majority of the retreat was team-building activities before the incident, and Amy only took part in the puzzle race, where groups put puzzles together without the box start to see which team could finish faster. Andy wasn't in my group, so I didn't interact with her there, and neither of our teams won the big event and the one that everyone was supposed to attend. She thanked me again and returned to the office her dad was using, where she had spent the majority of the day. Apparently, the most anticipated activity of the day was the final task. Our boss gave us a list of possible customers, and we were to choose 3 of them as a group and create something to draw in the customer. We were informed that we would be evaluated based on our inventiveness, and my group clarified that we could create images, slogans, jingles, or anything else we wanted. Each person was expected to work on one individually, then collaborate with their group to polish it before it was shown to everyone. It was somewhat of a big deal because I came up with a jingle, rhymed a few words, and recorded it. It was silly, but it fit the brand. My group gave me some pointers, and we made some improvements, and I recorded the finished product for submission. I assisted my team with their projects until it was time to turn everything in. At previous retreats, there would be clients on the list that the owner was already close to bringing on board, and if you impressed the owner, you might just land that account. To evaluate each other, the owner went through each one individually. If it was a storyboard or picture, he would post it, and we would comment on it, either positively or negatively. Some were excellent and received a lot of praise, while others were really bad, and we all laughed about it. It was clear that the senior account managers didn't care about the exercise or put much effort into their pitches, and no one seemed to be offended or upset when my jingle was played. It received many comments, not all of which were positive, but I accepted them with a smile. After receiving my feedback, I felt a little more at ease discussing my opinions on other presentations. I offered what I believed to be insightful criticism to a few products and laughed at a few others. Then, a rather rudimentary drawing was posted for the exact company I had selected, and I instantly joked that, well, at least my jingle was better than that. To complete silence, I laughed. Confused because everyone laughed at the jokes that were made, but some people thought I was disgusting. The owner said, well, if you don't have anything nice to say, keep it to yourself. My boss then scooted down to where I was sitting and told me to go to my desk. As I was gathering my belongings, I noticed that the owner's daughter was crying and red-faced, so I knew that the team-building exercise was over. I returned to my desk, and it started to sink in that the owner's daughter must have drawn the drawing. There was no warning or anything, and the owner didn't disclose who put together what we were looking at until after a few criticisms. Perhaps I should have realized that everyone was laughing and having a good time until someone else's drawing was ridiculed. In any case, I felt terrible, and as soon as the event ended, I went to my boss to apologize. He asked me to wait for him in his office. To cut a long story short, I was fired. He decided I wasn't a good fit for the company while I was still on orientation, so it was best to let me go. He didn't say I was fired for making fun of her drawing, but that's the only time I've ever received criticism for my work. I didn't have much time to process it because my boss had already called security, who arrived rather quickly and escorted me to my desk to gather my belongings before escorting me out of the building. As I was about to start looking for a new job, I thought that a few references from former co-workers wouldn't be bad since I definitely won't be getting one from my current employer. An hour later, I received a call from one of my former teammates asking if I was keen to join the team for a drink one last time. They needed it after the retreat, and I felt bad that they didn't warn me that I wasn't feeling up for it. I went to the bar to try to make sense of the whole situation. After everything happened, the team explained that Amy attends all of these retreats and always draws crudely. Everyone just kind of knows to say nice things about it and move on. One of my teammates said that once you've seen one of her drawings, you know what to look for. Well, I didn't, and no one warned me. I became quite upset that this was a known thing and that everyone knew except for me, but there was nothing I could do because I had already gone up, and it cost me. The team at my job also shared more information about Amy, who reportedly works at one of the satellite offices, but doesn't really do anything. The office managers try to find her activities because she gets upset when she's bored. According to the team, they were essentially her babysitters, so she wouldn't bother her dad all day when he spent most of his time there, and he didn't take Amy with him when he moved on to establish the new satellite office. Although he owns the company, my team said that Amy desperately wants a boyfriend and wants to get married, which she talks about constantly. They also claimed that her dad had harassed a few single guys at the office to take her on dates, which seemed incredibly inappropriate from an HR standpoint. However, everyone seemed to agree that Amy has no real understanding of how relationships or marriage work, and her dad most likely instilled this belief in her. I told them I had to leave because I wasn't in the mood for jokes after losing my job over one, but one of my teammates joked that it wasn't a bad deal because whoever married her would inherit the company since she is the old man's only child. The only bright spot was that my former teammates said they would be happy to provide me with a reference if I needed one because they felt terrible about not telling me about the Amy situation in the first place. Oh, and to top it all off, Amy sent me a Facebook message. After reading all of the responses, including quite a few DNOs, and speaking with a close friend, I've decided to accept the friend request over the weekend. I'll provide an update if there is any kind of conversation I plan to open with her. I've already upset her, and it cost me my job. Part of me wants to accept it, apologize and block her, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that either. I'll take a few days to gather myself before editing my resume. An apology, if she responds, great. If not, at least I will feel that I did the right thing. As you may recall from my first post, I was laid off for unintentionally making fun of the company owner's disabled daughter Amy during the day's final team building activity. We were pitching ideas for accounts, which included everything from storyboards to slogans to drawings to jingles, and many senior account managers were phoning it in. I became a little overconfident after hearing jokes about their work that made many people laugh. When a crude drawing of my jingle appeared for the same account, I made a joke about it, saying, "Well, at least my jingle was better than that. Did a 3-year-old draw it?" My joke was met with stone-cold silence and a very negative reaction from the company's owner. What my co-workers had neglected to mention was that Amy typically submits I was new and uninformed, so my ignorance and inappropriate response cost me my job. After meeting with my team at a bar to start the process of drowning my sorrows, I received a friend request from Amy on Facebook, which brings us to the update. First of all, I want to thank everyone who made me laugh when they joked that I should accept the friend request and marry Amy. Crude drawing is a lot of work for her because of her issues, and everyone knows to say a few nice things and move on. I was uncomfortable taking revenge by inheriting the company, and by the third time I saw it mentioned, I couldn't help but laugh. Many of you gave me wise counsel, and I appreciate those who discuss legal action and my options. Unfortunately, I was still in my company's orientation, which is similar to a probationary period during which they could fire me for any reason, for example, for wearing the wrong color socks, and I had to sign an agreement to get hired. In the end, I decided to go have some drinks with a good friend, Dave, who has been my best friend since elementary school, and with whom I've likely spent more time than some real brothers. Dave was adamant about accepting the friend request, saying, "I understand that there's literally nothing I can do legally," and saying, "I'm getting us another round of shots because he knows me better than anyone, and he knows." I posted it here because it bothered me, and I decided to follow his advice and the advice of everyone here, especially those who DM'd me. I accepted the friend request and messaged Amy right away, saying that it was unprofessional to make a joke about someone's work and I apologized for the delay in her response. She thanked me for my apology, but added that she sent the request. She wanted to apologize because I lost my job because of it. I told her that she didn't have to, and after a lengthy silence, she asked if she could copy and paste something to me. I wasn't sure what it was, but she said she could. She pasted a generic message that was obviously the result of a lot of work. I would rather not type it word for word, but I'll paraphrase. Hello, my name is Amy. I'd apologize if I'm slow to respond. I had a brain injury as a young girl, and it takes me some time. Type things out. There was more to it, but that's the essentials. I replied that it wouldn't be an issue and that she could take as much time as she needed. Amy and I ended up corresponding until nearly 3 in the morning. I'm not going to marry her for revenge, so I can have her dad's company, but I do think I would like to be friends with her, not because I feel sorry for her. No, we didn't fall in love, and we're not going on a date. We talked about her a lot because she's a really nice person, and to be honest, everyone could use a few friends like that. Since she seemed comfortable discussing it, I asked questions. Amy was in a car accident as a child when she was in the car with her mother, and they were struck by a drunk driver returning from a birthday party for one of her classmates. Her mother didn't make it, and Amy suffered a brain injury that affected her motor skills. People assume she has mental disabilities because she struggles to speak and do basic tasks like getting dressed, making coffee, etc. She was placed in special education because of this, but she worked really hard and graduated from high school. She even wanted to go to college, but her father didn't think it was a good idea. Her life has been challenging because she finds it difficult to communicate with others. By the time she can finish a sentence, the conversation is over, and she can type slowly. We finally returned to the drawing and my awful response to it. She wasn't particularly offended by my response because she assumed I didn't know, but she was upset primarily because she knew all hell was about to break loose, and she had no way of communicating with anyone. However, most people don't want to type when they're face to face. She even acknowledged that when she's not at work, she occasionally carries a tablet and pretends she's mute because that's just easier. Was fired and attempted to speak with her father, but he refused to listen. She is well aware that many employees at the company only act kind toward her because she is the owner's daughter, but she does have some friends at the satellite office where she works who are more understanding of her disability. She becomes frustrated because she is unable to contribute anything meaningful, but she is pleased when they can find busy work for her to complete, even though it might take her the entire day to complete something that someone else could. She knows she's a burden and a bother to her father when he's around, but he's her father, and she loves him. She wishes she were a daughter he could be proud of every day instead of being a burden. She tries to communicate with him via text messages and emails, but he usually doesn't reply. If they're in the same place, he'll just walk over and respond verbally, which is frustrating because it becomes a one-sided conversation with her unable to. It was getting late for both of us at that point, and she took a long time to respond to messages. She also thanked me again for helping her with her coffee, saying that she used to try to do everything by herself when she was younger and would get upset when people helped her. Now she has learned to appreciate the few who do, most of whom just stand there and pretend to patiently wait for her to do it on her own. Someone might think she has a mental disability because I described her in my first post as having childlike mannerisms, which was a misunderstanding on my part. She sounds more like an excited toddler than an adult trying to have a conversation when she tries to emphasize something or force words out quickly. We ended our conversation last night, agreeing to talk again at some point. She asked if I had seen the first House of Dragon episode yet, which I had. However, talking to Amy made me feel much better. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle the whole firing thing at my next interview, but some of you suggested that I just leave a gap on my resume, and I may just do that. I doubt there will be any updates going forward, but at least this has a happier ending than my first. I'd like to talk about it after she watches it, and I told her that I'd love to. That's the update, so I'm sorry to those who thought I would steal her dad's business. Hey everyone, I'm the original op. Someone linked me to this, and I'm blown away by all the positive comments here. I suppose I can give you a little update since so many people have read what I expected to be a throwaway confession post to help me organize my thoughts after having my life appended due to what I perceived to be a joke, but was actually quite unprofessional on my part. I lost my job after TLDR because a few people asked for it in my first post, but I might have gained a friend comment by /flusterflux. I'm going to have to rewatch the first episode at some point because I wasn't really in the right frame of mind the first time I watched it because of everything that happened. As many have advised, I won't speak until I have something good to say at my next job, regardless of what others are saying. Here's a little update. Amy loved House of the Dragon. We discussed a few characters, and Amy picked up some things I didn't pick up myself. Occurred. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and press the bell to receive updates on more startling real-life events, stories that are taking place all around you.